Welcome to AI World TV, your go-to destination for everything artificial intelligence. Discover the captivating landscape of AI, where advanced technology finds real-life application. Subscribe to AI World TV for webzine articles, reports, podcasts, videos, live events, and latest trends. Hear from top industry leaders and discover how AI is transforming industries and our daily lives.
Imagine a machine that can, detect a microscopic anomaly on a network, identify it as a novel cyber attack, and then just rewrite defensive protocols globally in a fraction of a second.
Right, a system so advanced it basically renders human cognition obsolete.
Exactly. Yet its ultimate weakness is, well, a broken thermostat. Welcome. It's Thursday, April 30, 2026.
It's good to be here.
Today, we are looking at a massive stack of articles, trend reports, and front-page headlines curated directly from today's AI World Journal.
And there is a lot to get through today.
There really is. And our mission for you on this deep dive is pretty straightforward. We are unpacking the state of artificial intelligence in 2026.
But we are moving way past the software hype, right?
Oh, absolutely. We are going to look at the hard, physical reality of AI today. From machine speed conflict to the global scramble for cooling water and nuclear power.
Yeah, it's a completely different landscape now.
It really is. Okay, let's unpack this because AI is no longer just like a clever app on your phone.
Yeah.
It has become heavy foundational infrastructure. I mean, it is pulling gigawatts from the power grid and it's changing the literal landscape.
What's fascinating here is that the bottleneck for AI progress has fundamentally shifted. I mean, a few years ago, the race was just about who had the cleverest algorithm or the most optimized code.
Sure, the software side of things.
Exactly. But the friction point right now in 2026 is thermodynamics. It is concrete. We spent the last decade marveling at what artificial intelligence could think, and now, well, we are slamming headfirst into the physical limits of what it takes to actually power that thinking.
Yeah, and to understand why the physical infrastructure is under such immense strain, we have to start by looking at what these systems are actually doing right now that requires so much juice.
Right, the use cases are getting intense.
They really are. Look at the geopolitical landscape Sydney Armani outlines today in the AI World Journal regarding the rise of algorithmic warfare. The phrase that immediately jumps off the page for me is machine speed conflict.
Yeah, that's a chilling phrase.
It paints a picture of a strategic reality where organizations are using AI as both the ultimate shield and the ultimate weapon.
Well, and machine speed is really the defining mechanic of this era. If you look at traditional cybersecurity, the mechanism involved a human recognizing a threat on a monitor, analyzing it, and manually deploying a countermeasure.
Like typing on a keyboard to stop a hack.
Right, exactly. The loop was gated by human reflexes. Now, consider the architecture of a modern AI defense system. It ingests, petabytes of network traffic simultaneously.
Wow.
It detects a microscopic anomaly, identifies it, and executes a defensive protocol before a human operator even blinks. But the offensive AI on the other side is simultaneously analyzing that new defense and adapting its attack pattern.
So it's just machines fighting machines.
Yeah, we are looking at millions of calculations and tactical pivots happening in literally milliseconds.
Wait, I have to stop you there. If humans are completely out of the loop in these machine speed conflicts, how do we prevent the AI from misinterpreting like a random software glitch as an attack and starting a massive digital war?
That is the million-dollar question.
I mean, it sounds like we've built a race car that goes so fast, human reflexes can't steer it, so we're desperately trying to invent an automatic emergency brake.
That is a perfect analogy. You are touching on the core anxiety of the entire field right now. Because the velocity is so high, developers are being forced to engineer those automatic emergency brakes.
Right, what the AI World Journal is calling self-correction with built-in kill switches.
Exactly. And this isn't a physical button a human pushes. It is a secondary observer algorithm whose entire job is to monitor the primary AI's confidence levels.
Okay, so how does that work?
Well, if the primary system's confidence in an action drops below a critical threshold, say 99.9%, the observer algorithm just severs the connection to the real world instantly.
So we're essentially asking the machine to police itself because we are simply too slow to do it. It's wild.
It really is.
And it isn't just happening in the shadows of cyber warfare. It's happening in highly visible, everyday life and death scenarios.
Right, like the hospital data.
Yeah. The stack today includes a recent Harvard trial where an AI successfully outperformed human doctors in emergency triage diagnoses.
Which is incredible.
It is. You walk into an ER, and the entity that most accurately determines how quickly you need a surgeon is a machine. But what really caught my eye is the how.
The training data.
Exactly. How does an AI learn the nuances of human pain? We see Reddit's CEO on CNBC explicitly calling his company the literal fuel for artificial intelligence.
It sounds counterintuitive at first, you know? Why would an emergency triage AI need data from a chaotic message board like Reddit?
Right, you'd think it just needs medical journals.
You would think that. But when you look at the mechanics of pattern recognition, it makes perfect sense. To make a life or death triage decision, the AI doesn't just need biology textbooks, it needs to understand messy, unstructured human context.
Oh, like how people actually talk when they're hurt.
Exactly. If a patient says my chest feels tight, that could mean a panic attack, asthma, or a myocardial infarction. Reddit is essentially a continuously updating planetary scale archive of human conversation, panic, slang, and problem solving.
I see.
By digesting that unstructured reality, the algorithm learns human edge cases.
So it's digesting billions of messy human conversations to learn context, and then applying that context in milliseconds during a cyber attack or an ER visit.
Precisely.
If the software is making life or death choices that quickly, the obvious question becomes, what kind of engine is actually processing that math?
Right, the hardware.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really interesting, because the drama right now isn't just about who has the smartest chatbot. The market is waking up to the fact that you can't run machine speed logic without the physical silicon.
It has turned into a vicious fight over who controls the chips.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the capabilities we just talked about require computational power on a scale that forces a total restructuring of the tech industry.
For a long time, the software developers were the kings of the castle. Now it's the companies that manufacture the hardware, pour the concrete, and control the infrastructure.
They're the most critical players on the board. I mean, we all know NVIDIA's stranglehold on the market over the last few years, but to see an unnamed infrastructure stock completely crush them with a staggering 270% surge shows a massive paradigm shift.
Oh, absolutely. The market is realizing the bottleneck isn't the chip design anymore. It's the physical real estate and the power infrastructure.
And on top of that, we see OpenAI mounting a major direct challenge to NVIDIA's hardware dominance by signing a landmark deal with AMD.
Yeah, that deal is a perfect illustration of the mechanics at play. A software giant like OpenAI knows that being dependent on a single hardware monopoly, like NVIDIA, is an existential risk.
Because they could just hike prices or restrict supply.
Exactly. When you are processing billions of parameters a second, whoever controls your compute supply chain dictates your growth. Partnering with AMD is an attempt to secure an independent pipeline of silicon.
And the friction to secure that supply chain is spilling out everywhere. I mean, we see Elon Musk laying out his souring relationship with OpenAI during his second day of testimony.
Right.
And just for the listener, we are strictly looking at the headlines here. We aren't taking sides in these legal disputes, but what it highlights is the immense pressure cooker this industry has become.
Oh, for sure.
The stakes over who controls the foundational models and the compute required to run them are so high that former partners are battling in court.
Well, the corporate collisions are inevitable. When a technology fundamentally alters global economics, the entities at the vanguard are going to fight for control.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But what is truly fascinating is that even if a company wins the corporate war, even if they secure all the silicon they could ever want from AMD or NVIDIA, they immediately run into an immovable object,
Which is
the physical world.
Right. Because having the chips doesn't mean you can actually run them.
Yeah.
The sheer electrical friction of thousands of these processors firing simultaneously means we aren't just moving data anymore.
No, we are managing industrial heat.
Exactly. Traditional data centers are like warehouses storing files. But AI data centers are more like heavy industrial foundries, melting down data to forge neural pathways.
Yeah.
I mean, we're basically stuffing the power of a digital sun into a server rack. The physical servers are essentially melting.
And that is the hard physical limit we are hitting. It is a crisis of thermodynamics.
A crisis of thermodynamics. I like that.
To understand the scale of the heat, you have to look at the architecture. A traditional web server uses a CPU, which processes tasks sequentially. It generates heat, but it's manageable.
Right. Just normal computer fans can handle it.
Exactly. But AI relies on GPUs, which process thousands of calculations.
You are listening to the AI World Podcast, your trusted source for the latest innovations, insights, and trends in artificial intelligence, blockchain, fintech, and decentralized technologies. Each episode features expert interviews, engaging discussions, and in-depth analysis of how AI transforms industries worldwide. Stay ahead of the curve with the latest articles and exclusive reports from the AI World Journal, covering everything from emerging technologies to industry breakthroughs. For more news, global events, and access to AI World Society circle gatherings, visit us at aiworld.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed, stay connected, and be part of the AI revolution with AI World Lounge. Thank you for listening.
In parallel. When you stack thousands of GPUs in a single server rack and run them at maximum capacity, the power density, the amount of electricity flowing through a very small physical space, is just staggering.
And the fallout of that power density is rippling through the markets right now. Look at Microsoft. Their Azure cloud growth has resulted in a $627 billion backlog.
It's an unfathomable number.
Just wrap your head around that number. That isn't a software bug. That represents millions of square feet of physical buildings that need to be constructed, filled with servers, and hooked up to local power grids.
Yeah.
It proves that the demand for AI is radically outpacing our physical ability to build the facilities and, crucially, to cool them down.
Well, the cooling struggle is really the defining engineering challenge of 2026. Traditional data centers were built around forced cold air. You pump heavy air conditioning through the room and fans blow it over the metal heat sinks.
Like a giant refrigerator.
Right. But because the power density of an AI rack is so extreme, air cooling is essentially obsolete. The air physically cannot absorb and carry away the heat fast enough.
Wow.
It's like trying to cool down a jet engine with a desk fan.
Yeah.
The components will just destroy themselves.
I'm trying to visualize the solution here, because if air doesn't work, what does? We were looking at a report featuring the CEO of Fervoret, who claims their new fanless, waterless cooling tech can unlock more compute from a fixed power supply.
Yeah, that's a fascinating development.
But how exactly do you cool a melting server without fans or water?
So it relies on a mechanism called two-phase immersion cooling. Instead of blowing air over the server or pumping water through pipes next to it, you literally submerge the entire server rack into a specialized non-conductive dielectric fluid.
Wait, they just dunk the whole computer in liquid?
They do. Because the fluid doesn't conduct electricity, it doesn't short out the electronics. When the chips get hot, the fluid resting directly against the silicon boils and turns into vapor.
That is wild.
Right. That phase change from liquid to gas pulls massive amounts of heat away from the metal instantly. The vapor rises, hits a condenser at the top of the tank, turns back into liquid, and just rains back down.
Okay, that sounds like an absolute holy grail.
Yeah.
You eliminate the massive energy draw of spinning thousands of fans, and you stop consuming the millions of gallons of fresh water that traditional data centers use up.
On paper, it's perfect.
But let me play devil's advocate here. If this dielectric fluid technology is the magic bullet, why does Microsoft still have a $627 billion backlog? What is the catch?
Well, the catch is scale and deployment. The report specifically notes that Fervoret's technology remains stuck in the pilot stage. You can't just pour this fluid into a traditional data center.
Oh, it's because the buildings aren't designed for it.
Exactly. You have to design entirely new, highly specialized facilities built around these heavy, sealed tanks. You need specialized plumbing, thermal engineers, and massive capital investment.
So we're just waiting on the construction.
Basically, yeah. Until breakthroughs like this can be manufactured and deployed on a global industrial scale, the smartest software engineers in the world are currently waiting on plumbers to figure out how to keep the machines from catching fire.
It really reframes the whole AI taking over the world narrative. The Terminator might just, overheat.
Yeah, exactly.
But because traditional data centers are maxed out, the industry isn't just sitting on its hands waiting for new fluid tanks. They are taking radical measures to fuel the AI machine right now.
They have to.
The AI World Journal outlines a concept the industry is calling speed to power. And this is where the tech industry crashes headfirst into the listener's everyday life.
Right. Speed to power is essentially a total restructuring of how tech giants acquire electricity. They cannot wait 3 to 5 years for a public utility to upgrade a local power grid to handle a new AI data center.
So they just bypass the traditional system.
Yes.
Yeah, the reports talk about behind-the-meter data center builds. For the listener, that essentially means a tech company bypassing the public utility grid entirely. Instead of plugging into the same transmission lines that power your neighborhood, they build the data center directly next to a private power plant and plug straight into it.
It's unprecedented.
And we are also seeing phased energization, which means they aren't even waiting for the whole building to be finished. The second a single server rack has power, they turn it on to start training models. And then there's the most extreme measure, nuclear bets.
Yeah, the shift toward nuclear power is staggering. To feed the continuous massive baseload power required by these AI foundries, companies are looking to secure their own dedicated nuclear reactors.
And this isn't just happening in the US, right?
Oh no, this is a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
We see I Squared Capital making a massive deal to fuel the expansion of Elia data centers down in Brazil. The tech industry is mapping the entire globe, searching for literally any pocket of excess energy or available land.
But let's bring this back home to you, the listener. Because when tech companies start buying up nuclear power capacity and expanding globally at this aggressive rate, they are competing for the exact same resources required to run your local hospital or, to keep your air conditioning running during a heat wave.
That's the core tension.
It steps out of the realm of abstract technology and into local civic infrastructure. And the public is waking up to the trade-offs.
This raises an important question about the social contract of technology. Just look at the data from the new Marquette poll in our stack today. It reveals deep public skepticism regarding data centers and artificial intelligence.
People are getting worried.
They are. There's a profound disconnect between the tech industry's desperation for limitless power and the public's willingness to hand over their local grid capacity to fuel it.
It makes complete sense when you look at the use cases, too. We have breathless reports in our stack today talking about how AI is causing online ad businesses to boom and how AI is the next frontier of customer service automation and banking.
Right. Everyday corporate efficiencies.
Yeah. So if you are a regular citizen, you have to ask yourself, does it really make sense to tap into a local nuclear reactor or to strain a municipal water supply just so an online algorithm can serve a banner ad 10% more efficiently?
Well, it is the natural immune response of a society dealing with a disruptive, resource-hungry organism. When you have an entity demanding physical resources on the scale of entire nations, governments and communities will inevitably step in to protect themselves.
Self-preservation.
Exactly. I mean, if the compute was purely being used to cure diseases, the public might tolerate the infrastructure strain. But when the massive environmental cost is weighed against optimizing digital ad revenue, the tolerance vanishes rapidly.
And we are seeing that immune response manifest in real time across the political and economic spectrum today. We have reports that momentum is building in Congress to ban AI chatbots for kids.
Right.
Over in the financial sector, a Bloomberg op-ed argues that taxing artificial intelligence would be a big mistake. And again, we aren't taking a political stance on whether the bans are right or the taxes are wrong.
No, of course not.
But the sheer volume of these debates is clear evidence that the societal reaction to AI's rapid physical growth has hit a fever pitch. Lawmakers and economists are desperately trying to throw up guardrails around a system that was demanding too much too fast.
The friction isn't just in the servers anymore. It has spilled out into town halls, zoning boards, and legislative chambers. The infrastructure required to sustain machine-speed logic is simply too heavy to hide in the cloud anymore.
Let's step back and look at the core journey we've taken today, because the paradigm shift is absolute. In 2026, artificial intelligence has definitively evolved from a fascinating software experiment into heavy industrial resource-hungry infrastructure.
It really has.
We've moved from algorithmic warfare happening at machine speed, where AI acts so fast we have to build automatic kill switches just to maintain control, to realizing that the ultimate limit on that speed isn't the line of code.
No, it's the physical hardware.
Right. We live in a world where Microsoft is sitting on a $627 billion backlog, and where the most advanced tech companies are trying to figure out how to boil their servers in non-conductive fluid simply because we cannot physically build the buildings, source the electricity, and cool down the metal fast enough.
It completely reframes how you should look at the future of this technology. We spend so much time culturally fearing an AI that becomes, too smart or goes rogue.
Like the classic sci-fi villain.
Exactly. But based on the physical reality we've explored today, that might be the wrong thing to worry about.
What do you mean?
Well, if the entire global system is currently bottlenecked by the deployment of two-phase immersion cooling tanks, by the physical limits of power grids, and by intense public resistance to local data center builds, I mean, maybe the future of AI dominance won't actually be decided by who writes the smartest algorithm.
Wow.
Maybe it will simply be decided by whoever controls the water and the power grid.
That is an incredible thought to end on. The true masters of the artificial intelligence revolution might not end up being the software engineers in Silicon Valley. They might be the thermal engineers, the plumbers, and the utility companies.
It's a brave new world.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the headlines, look past the software hype, and keep your eyes on the physical infrastructure behind the intelligence. We'll see you next time.
The future of artificial intelligence is unfolding, and it's happening at AI World Week, the flagship global event for innovation, collaboration, and transformation. This flagship global AI event is designed to connect visionary leaders, trailblazing entrepreneurs, and influential thinkers to explore the endless possibilities of AI. Experience groundbreaking technology that redefines industries and inspires progress. Join thought-provoking discussions on ethical AI, digital equity, and the transformative role of technology in our world. Build meaningful connections that catalyze innovation and drive impact. AI World Week is powered by AI World Society, a global movement dedicated to advancing AI responsibly and ensuring it serves humanity. Together, we're shaping a smarter, more inclusive, and equitable future. Continue your journey beyond the event with the AI World Journal, offering expert insights, in-depth analysis, and the latest trends shaping the AI landscape. This is your opportunity to lead, to innovate, and to transform the world with AI. AI World Week. We invite you to join us and embrace the AI revolution.